and I have a 1-year-old who likes to throw them, so that's saying a lot that they don't break or scratch or anything. So to start my Ursula, I'm going to begin by sculpting just like her shoulders and up, kind of, just like the very top of her on a nail form backing. So I began with a really nice light purple color, and I have her shoulders, that shoulder area. I'm going to kind of add her head. She's kind of a no neck type of person, so you don't really have to worry about adding much for a neck in there. Just add kind of her head coming up. And I know that this looks basically like a blob right now, but as you're working on it and as you continue to add layers to your Ursula, more and more of her shape will shine through. And in the beginning, expect her to look like a blob. That's just kind of how it works. So just add what you can here and there. So I just kind of took the tip of my brush and sort of poked in for the lines for her arms, kind of like up into her armpits, and then add her forearms up, like she's got kind of like this shrug, like I didn't do it, sort of a look on her face. So she's got her arms up and she's shrugging. So after you have, that's kind of like the first layer of acrylic down. After you have that first layer done, you can go through and add more layers to anything that you want to, and you can do as little or as much to this as you would like. So I'm going to be first adding a second layer of acrylic to her chest. So just kind of add 2 beads there and sort of pull them out and smooth them out. And like I said, you can do as much or as little as you'd like with the acrylic. I mention frequently in my videos that you can do either more with acrylic paint or more with acrylic, and that you can kind of go back and forth, and you can sculpt more and use colored acrylic for more stuff if you'd like. And that is what I did with this little Ursula, is I did a lot more with acrylic than I normally do. I wanted to do something more detailed and just kind of go crazy with it, so this is what I was doing. So I kind of pushed in her cheekbones, pushed in her eye sockets, create those little indents there. You want to kind of pull the acrylic up towards her nose. And I know that it's so tiny and it's such a light color, it is hard to see all of these wonderful details that are being worked into this little sculpture, but it's there. And if you don't want to go as detailed as I did, tone it back absolutely and go however far you feel comfortable with it. So I'm going to be adding a little bit more to her chin. And the fun thing with this is that with acrylic, you can kind of continue to build up until you're happy. And at some point, you're suddenly going to look at it and you're like, you know what? I'm good. I'm done. I can step away from this and I'll be good with it. So you can just keep going until you're satisfied. And so then I'm going to be adding her little hands on the ends of her arms. And don't worry about those little arms being really narrow and really thin. They're going to be glued onto the pair of glasses. And so this is just so that you are sculpting on something away from the lenses, so you don't take a chance of getting product where you don't want it on the final product. And the final design. So then I'm going to be taking just a touch of black acrylic, and I'm going to be adding the top of her, I don't really know what to call it. It's like her skin, but it's like a dress. It's like her dress skin. So think of it however you want, but just the top of it, top of her dress. And then with a very shimmery white acrylic, I'm going to be adding her hair. And if you don't have a shimmery white acrylic, I know that's an awfully specific color, you can use just white acrylic and then add some shimmer gel polish to it later if you want. But I really like the shimmery element of her hair because she's a glamorous sea witch. So she's got lots of little hints of glamour on her. She's got a necklace, well, she's got the shell necklace with Ariel's voice in it, but she's got earrings that are pretty fancy, and just her eyeshadow and everything. She's very glamorous. So the shimmery white hair just seems awfully appropriate to me. So I added the little gold, I just did a circle. I didn't actually worry about sculpting a shell, but a little gold circle for the shell necklace, and then a darker purple, I'm going to be adding her little shell earrings sticking out from the sides. Just little tiny bits there. And then with teal acrylic, I'm going to be adding just ever so slight a hint of her eyeshadow. It's so small that these little details are really, really little. So it doesn't take much acrylic at all to be making any of these shapes. After you have all that done, you can take and glue Ursula to the glasses. I do have it glued so that you do see a little bit like her top of her head and a little bit of her hand sticking up from the top of the frames. But you can kind of have peace of mind that they aren't going to break by filling in behind them with a lot of clear acrylic. So definitely bulk them up back there. And then I'm going to be adding the rest of her body with some more of the black acrylic. Obviously, I didn't know for sure how it would fit on there perfectly, and I didn't want to take and sculpt her whole body out and have so much of the lens covered. So that's why I did just I kind of cut her off at the boobs, and then you can go through and fill in the rest of her body, and you can easily wrap it around the lens, so you don't have to worry about getting it to where you don't want it. So just kind of tuck it in around the lens. I'm going to be adding a couple more beads of black acrylic just to smooth out the transition. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to quickly mention that the purple element of these glasses is phenomenal. So I have prescription sunglasses, and I've said, I want them as dark as you can get them. I want them to be as blue as you got, or whatever color from different eyeglass stores that I've been to. And they never really have been. Like a light blue hint. And I wanted a color. These sunglasses are as purple as it gets. And it's hilarious because when Terrell and I were just taking a little drive around the downtown of our city, or town, or whatever you want to call it, and he said, well, how does that sign look with your glasses on? I'm like, well, it looks, like neon red. And he'd go, really? And we'd be at a stoplight, and he'd go, well, let me see. And he kept taking my glasses because he wanted to see how different things looked with the purple lenses on them, because it changes colors, and it makes certain colors look so vibrant and so amazing. It just sort of, I don't know, gives you a whole new perspective on the world. So the color is amazing. But then going back to my little Ursula design, I highlighted the black of her dress with some blue. So a very dark blue, but that's just going to give it a little bit of that highlight. And then for the outlines around her chin, her shoulders, her arms, her fingers, all of that, I used a kind of like an eggplanty purple color, just to not have black outlines, but to definitely give it some contrast so you can see all of her little shapes. Add some white highlights to her hair, add some gray highlights or gray lowlights to her hair. Just kind of add some more to her hair. Then with purple, I'm also going to be doing the first layer to her lips. And I don't know, you maybe rather like purple, her lips are red. Yes, but in case your lips aren't perfect the first go around, if you do them with a color that's like the purple, if a little bit shows around the lips, it's not going to be a problem. Plus, that's going to add some depth to the red color. So don't worry too much about it if you do that. Adding a second layer to the blue on her dress because my blue dried and you couldn't see it anymore. So I'm like, I need some more of that. I'm going to be adding the cord of the necklace, filling in her teeth with white. I also added her eyes with white. They're little teeny tiny slits. And then I'm going to take with black, I'm going to be adding her eyebrows. My first go around with her eyebrows, I thought they got a little bit too thick, so I went and I thinned them out later on, you'll see, with some lavender color paint that blends in fairly well with my acrylic. But then you are also going to need to add her lash lines and her pupil. And her little teeny tiny lash lines. Her eyes are very squinty and very small, so they are super tiny in this little design. Another little pupil. Just like that. And then with red, I'm going to go through, with black, I'm going to separate her upper and lower teeth. And then with red, I'm going to be filling in her lips. Ursula is a character that's always been one of my favorites. I have had a couple different Ursula designs, so if you guys are interested in any of my past Ursula designs, I will put links to those in the description box below. And if you guys are like, you know what, this thing isn't on a nail, I wish it were on a nail, you can take all of the steps that I have used for this design and apply it to a nail, and it would be amazing. You could sculpt Ursula directly on the nail. You wouldn't necessarily have to do it on a nail form backing and then glue it on, or you can if you want, up to you. But the whole tutorial could certainly be used for a nail design, and it would be awesome. And I'm super jealous of that idea, and now I want this on my nails. So I'm going to take, and I've got rhinestones and pearls, a whole array of them laid out next to me so I can kind of pick and choose as I go. And with some nail glue, I'm going to be gluing them onto the glasses. And as far as durability goes, this holds up very well, the nail glue does, but you don't want to be stingy with it. You want to make sure that you apply plenty of nail glue so that the nail glue kind of wraps up and around each rhinestone and pearl, so it kind of grabs it and tucks it in. Otherwise, they might pop off, but as long as you do that and you are fairly generous with the glue, you shouldn't have any issues with them popping off on you, unless you're sitting there picking at them. But as long as you're being nice to your rhinestones, they'll be nice to you. Just fill in all around Miss Ursula with those. And now I'm going to be making a little shell necklace. I couldn't think for a second. A little shell necklace shell to go on the other side of the glasses. So I've got Ursula on one side and the shell on the other, just so that there's something fun on both sides of them. So back a couple years ago, it's been a long time now, 4 or 5 years ago, almost 4.5, I guess, I was Ursula for Halloween, and I painted myself purple, and I had my tentacles, and I had the whole 9 yards, and I had this huge skirt, and I was working in a salon. It was a work day for me, and it was Halloween, and I did pedicures with that whole getup on. It was actually fairly hilarious. So there's another little Ursula story for you. So after you have your little shell done, take it off the nail form back and glue it onto the glasses. Do a couple little outlines with black. You don't have to go overboard. That gold acrylic should really do most of the work there for you. Then same thing, I'm going to be filling in around them with plenty of rhinestones. I also have a little crescent shaped gold stud that I used on this side. Like I said, I just had a whole bunch of stuff laid out, and I would grab something and be like, you know what, I think this one should go here, and I would use them where I thought they would be the best fit. And try to look back and forth from one side of the glasses to the other so that your frames look balanced, so it's not like you have rhinestones halfway around on one side and then a third of the way around on the other, so that one side is so much more covered than the others. You want to keep it as balanced as you can. And after you have all that done, I'm going to take some gel top coat and I'm going to mix that with some glitter. So I've got kind of a purple green glitter mix that I have, very iridescent, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to mix those all together to make my own little glitter gel, and I'm going to be applying that all the way around on the frames. This element of it, I couldn't decide if I wanted to do or not. It was part of my initial plan to have this glitter border on them, and then I was looking at it and I loved the rhinestones and I loved the really dark frames. I'm like, do I want to add the glitter? And eventually I decided yes, I did. Let me know, guys, in the description box or in the comment section below if you like the glitter or if you like them better without the glitter. I still can't decide. I love the glitter and I love the glitz of it, but I also kind of like the dark mysteriousness of the really dark frames. So I couldn't decide and I'm still unsure. So let me know what you guys think. I'm certainly, I don't know, I like opinions. So then finish off, I took some more of that glitter down the temples of the glasses, apply some matte top coat over Ms. Ursula and over the seashell, and that is it. I've been wearing these glasses everywhere, everywhere I can if it's sunny. When Terrell saw them, he goes, oh my goodness, you're going to be wearing those everywhere, aren't you? And I looked at him like,